Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Denise Butchko, and I work with Caesarstone. And I have my teammate and three other esteemed panelists on today. So my teammate is Kathleen Hayes. Say hi, Kat.
Hi, everybody. I cover the Chicago and Milwaukee and Green Bay markets pre-transactional. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Awesome. Kat's gonna monitor the chat, and we are gonna open this up to audience questions afterwards. So if you feel like typing something in the interim, feel free. We're gonna ask some questions of the panelists, and then we'll open it up to the audience. So you can enter them at any time. We'll answer them at the end, and hopefully you'll have some great questions. So first I wanna start with introducing our panelists, and then I'll ask them some questions. So our first panelist is Rochelle, who started working in the housing industry at the age of 17, actually selling flooring. Filled with passion and determination, she grew her career to evolve to now being the owner of the award-winning firm K-Build Design in the St. Louis area. The culture and heart of her business is fueled by her love of God and the desire to help people. Welcome, Rochelle. I keep wanting to say Rachel. Rochelle.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Second up is Diana Burton of Drury Design, and Diana arrived at her career in design via first a business degree from Indiana University. Go Hoosiers.
Go Hoosiers.
Go Hoosiers.
She then went on to study fashion design, where she developed a very well-trained eye, and that led to the transition of her taking on her own renovation project and subsequently pursuing kitchen and bath design. As a lead designer for the Chicago area firm Drury Design, she's passionate about learning what her clients are hoping to achieve with their projects and offering creative solutions to challenging spaces. So welcome, Diana.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
And next up is Wendy Langston of Everything Home Design in Carmel, Indiana. From 2000 to 2014, Wendy co-founded and operated luxury home construction businesses with her husband, Jeff. Over the years, she honed her unique style and ignited a passion for designing not just spaces, but amazing sanctuaries for living. Her team currently offers a signature satisfaction by design process with spaces identified as, which I really like this, where luxury meets livable. So welcome, Wendy.
Thank you, Denise. I appreciate being here.
So we want to have some fun and ask some questions, and I'm actually going to ask one question of all of them first. And Wendy, I'll have you start with answering. In this time of really, each of you brings a very diverse background to design. So from where each of you sit, what do you see as new opportunities for business growth over the next 6 to 12 months that the industry or designers could pursue? So Wendy, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thank you. Well, we have, since we have had this, obviously this climate that we're working in, really the challenge for us has been how do we reach our clients and how do we engage them? So in order to avoid this being a barrier for us, we really see the growth coming from investment in our technical skills. So we're really, on my team, I'm a small business owner with right now 4 employees, and we are really honing in on using our tech skills in SketchUp, in Chief Architect, in order to create 2 and 3D drawings. And then also some of the communication platforms, Zoom being one of them, in order to run an efficient presentation and meeting in the event that we can't be with clients. We're finding it particularly helpful in that space of renovation as helping the client to envision what is coming and doing that virtually.
Awesome. So tech, that's very interesting. Diana, what about you? What do you see?
Well, similarly, obviously, we've started to do a lot of Zoom meetings, like many of you probably. Had to get a little bit creative about samples, especially. We're doing care packages for people and leaving boxes of samples on their doorstep so that they can go through them. And typically what we'll do is follow up with a Zoom call where we can kind of talk them through what we left for them. So obviously no one knows how much longer this kind of situation will continue. So we're trying to adapt, as we can. And so far it's worked out really well. People seem very receptive, and are really enjoying, having that connection. I think especially being at home all the time. They're really looking forward to our Zoom calls and looking forward to doing a project.
Awesome. And Rochelle?
So in our office, we're really focusing on, while we've got a little bit of a lag, we're working on perfecting our workflows and our contracts and just the systems, like how we're presenting to customers and everything, trying to get better as we find like our new normal. So, I mean, our office has been very busy, but we're finding new and different work than what we're used to. And my husband and I own our firm together, and we sat down and just talked about, you have to go back to the basics. Like, why did customers want to work with you in the first place when the market wasn't like we just walked out of? And so a lot of it comes down to relationships. And so we're making personal phone calls to our customers, is there anything that you need or anything, that we can help you with? And that's gotten us some work, but we're working with, we do design and construction renovations. And so I don't normally work with other contractors. And lately they're calling me because they need, they need help, more help, and our company is still active. So it's just, you have to not be picky. For a little while, I think we were all able to be more picky about, what clients you work with and, what were the parameters. And, in the beginning, I think probably when all of us started doing this, you weren't picky, you were thankful, for anything that you got. And so that's, looking forward, I think, it's probably not going to get a whole lot better for a while with this many people losing their jobs and everything. And so you have to figure out the new flow and what's new, what's new that, you can make workable for your clients. I have a client that was going to do their whole house. And so I said, well, don't feel any pressure. We don't have to work on your whole house. Let's just pick a piece of it and start there. And then that got that moving forward.
Smart. And so I was going to dive into then this is a similarly veined question, but so what are you doing right now that no one else in your market is doing? And, what kind of things are you doing to close deals? You just mentioned maybe honing in on a smaller part of a project. Is there anything else that you're doing that you don't see anybody else doing?
Is that back to me?
Yeah.
Okay. We do something a little bit different in our firm that I've found that works really well is I try to coordinate everything for my customer and not have them have to leave our store if they do have to come in. And so I'll do, like I said, we do renovations and design. I do the design portion of the renovations. And so, I don't directly sell plumbing fixtures out of my store, but I have catalogs. And so I'll figure everything except for appliances they don't have to leave our store for. So we try to be a one-stop shop. And so that is different than most people in my space. You just have to be creative about it and really think about what your audience, what you're targeting.
Yeah, I think that's really an excellent point. You do have to really think about who is your audience, who is your customer, and what is it that would make them most tick or respond to. Yeah. Thanks, Rachel. Rochelle. Diana, question for you. Are you doing anything to diversify your income streams, maybe adding products or focusing on any different niches?
I will say, a couple things. One is, I've been very lucky being at Drury that we have, we've been around for 33 years. So we have a long established, list of clientele and a lot of referral business and people coming back. But during this, situation where people are so tentative, and obviously web traffic has slowed down, our studio is closed, so there's no walk-ins or anything like that. I've been trying to connect with some local interior designers and partner with them. So that has actually been worked out really well, where, you know, particularly working with designers who don't necessarily do cabinetry and kitchen and bath remodels, where they can hook me up with clients who are looking for those services. And then they can provide interior design services and furnishings, window treatments, et cetera, things that we don't do. So we can kind of expand the breadth of a project for both of us. So that's been one really positive thing that's come out of this. And obviously that's something that I'll want to continue, you know, once we're back to whatever the new normal will be.
Yeah, I love a collaborative approach. I mean, anything like that where you can come together somehow kind of renews the spirit of things. And
absolutely, it's really been fun.
Yeah, good. I like that. Wendy, question for you. What are your best ways to really currently stay in touch with your customers?
Well, some of the things we've been employing in addition to kind of that tech platform, we use, I guess my short answer is marketing. We have been really proactive in engaging clients to participate in our newsletter and participate in our blog posts and pushes to try to engage our clients. And then, as Rochelle was saying, also reaching out to past clients that we've worked for just to try to re-engage that list of previous business. They seem to be the most likely to want to kind of re-engage during this uncertain time. So those are some of the techniques that we're using. Nothing really other than those fundamental block and tackle kind of call frequency, calling back to past clients, and then maybe using our newsletter and our blog post and our website to try to gain more traction with clients.
So is there something you do actively, like you post a post on your blog? Do you do something that you actively, are you inviting them to comment on it? Are you including their projects in it? How are you integrating your customers in with your blog?
Yeah, so trying to find topics that are relevant. We've actually seen, as most of us probably have, that our website traffic is up about 45% over the same time last year and about 200% over last quarter. So we're really seeing that time at home.
Yep.
And building that relationship with clients with things that are relevant. So yes, asking for their comment and feedback, asking them to, through those comments, really editing those for key topics that we find the market might be interested in, targeting our promotion to particular zip codes that are responding to those marketing areas. So for example, we found a little pocket on the near south side of Indianapolis that seems to be great fans of our brand. So we are then targeting very specifically renovation marketing through Facebook and Instagram stories to those specific areas in the areas of master bath renovation or kitchen renovation, which are the areas that they kind of indicated they had interest in.
Now, how did you determine that they had an interest in those things? Did you track some results from a Facebook ad campaign?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So it's kind of all that full circle of watching them. These are clients that we don't currently know. Mm-hmm. So really in that growth mode of how do we expand our outreach during this period of not being able to reach them personally or having our studio closed or our model homes closed.
Yep. And I guess what I want to see if what I'm hearing, and you can either correct me or is that in terms of particularly with when you're creating content, a blog post, or even an email marketing piece, you feel like people will, you want, you're like fingers crossed, let them respond. And what I'm hearing you say is that you are very proactive about even actually asking people to do that, which I think is essential, but is that in fact what you were saying?
Yeah, as a small business owner, I made the decision to retain an outside third-party marketing firm, and I would say if budgets allow, I know many of us maybe are in solo practice, but if you are in a small business, to consider an outside firm with the expertise, because through their optimization, they'll track each search word that a client might be inputting. So it could very well be kitchen renovation, which then leads us to review that data and create a post surrounding that.
Yep.
So they kind of go hand in hand. It's hard to know chicken and the egg, which comes first, but yeah, you need to really have a good pulse on what the market wants and what they're looking for, and serve that up really specifically in as real time as you can, which is a full-time job in itself.
It is. And on that southwest side of Indianapolis, so I kind of picture that as not as high end of a demographic as Carmel or the northern side of Indianapolis. So how did you pick that? Is there a little pocket of demographic information that matches your target?
Yes.
So you decided to pick those zip codes, test them out, and see if that worked.
Exactly. We started, well, we actually, we followed the market. So it was where are our calls coming from? And we started to see some trends, particularly from this one zip code. And then we started to see that demographic, the age, the time in their home, their income, all paired perfectly with what we think is the ideal client. And it's not a particularly saturated market. Most people spend their AdWord budget on Indianapolis or Chicago, those larger metro areas, and the cost per click is almost fivefold, whereas the cost per click for that same word in a different geography was 20% of the price. So,
awesome.
You know, so just kind of not being limited to your geography maybe is the outcome, and maybe there are little pockets that match up with your target audience and target profile.
Excellent. I love that.
Yeah, so that was one thing that has been working. So while you started out with how do we stay in touch with our clients, these aren't necessarily my active book of business, but these would be that future pipeline that we're looking to fill in this kind of crazy moment of not being able to engage them, you know, personally.
I think it's great. All right. So now, Rochelle, question for you. Is there any element of design that customers have already asked to change because of what's going on? Any effect you've already seen from a client wanting to change something?
I think, I mean, it depended on the project, because a lot of projects, if they're already in, you know, as deep as they are, they've made decisions and, you know, everything's accounted for the most part. I've seen them finish their projects as per plan. However, projects that have not started, I've seen the changes. Like, for example, the house that I mentioned, we were doing a whole renovation and they've narrowed it to just starting with the master bathroom, getting their feet wet. Other clients, it depends on situation. Some projects have ended completely because of job loss. Some have shifted the scale of the project, maybe just some of the features of the project. I think it's made people really think about what's necessary. You know, there's purpose behind them doing it, or they wouldn't have planned on putting their money there in the first place.
Right.
And so it really comes down to, you know, what's necessary. And so it's a lot about the relationship with your client and trying to navigate that. As a salesperson, you have to be so in tune with, you know, if you feel them, you know, that they're off about it, then you try to get to the root of it and see how you can solve the problem for them. And while all the while continue forward. I think a big deal, you know, with what any of us do is just to really get a good feel for them. And I mean, it's our job to guide them through every step of the process. And so, you know, I just reiterate the value in that, and that they don't have to worry. And, you know, I get multiple bids for a lot of things that I do. And so that helps them to feel like, you know, it's fair and reasonable and things like that.
Great. Thank you. Diana, are wellness and expanded home offices the only big trends you're seeing, or are there other areas that you're focusing on? And if you are seeing those two, what kind of unique things have come up related to them?
Well, definitely home offices. Obviously, that's kind of a given because so many people are working from home who didn't before. I'm actually at my dining room table because I have no dedicated home office. So I'm either at my kitchen table or my dining room table, depending on the day, kind of just for variety. But yeah, people are definitely looking at offices. I think we've seen a lot of interest in organizing things like pantries and closets. Probably the whole Marie Kondo fad that's just kind of sweeping Pinterest is and Instagram and everything is definitely increased some interest in revamping master closets and walk-in pantries to kind of maximize the storage and efficiency. So that's definitely one thing that we've seen.
Great, thank you. And then Wendy, since so many clients like doing their own thing and so many have had time now to shop online, how do you go about shopping or sourcing products for your projects, especially now?
Yeah, it's that is a challenge. I think it's an ongoing challenge for the interior design industry and in general is feeling shopped. We do have some exclusive to the trade partnerships with manufacturers that we work with in the United States, particularly in upholstery. However, today everyone is everywhere, right? So Wayfair is, you know, that consolidator that's moving merchandise all over. So we try to make sure that we vet out the quality manufacturers that we think represent our brand relative to the value that they provide. And then as we present that information to the client, we also feel and pass on our discounts to clients. So they benefit from the relationship that we have as a wholesaler, and we should be at or below retail pricing. And we disclose that to them as the discount off MSRP.
Okay.
So if they're specifically buying merchandise from us, like a sofa, or we always are trying to make sure that that value is there, that we're sharing that discount with them. And that's part of our sales message to them. We are also retained for the design concept development, which is a separate design fee that we're retained for. So if in fact that after all of the heavy lifting and designing, the client would like to implement on their own, we really can release them to go do that without a lot of hard feelings as it relates to furniture. Knowing that furniture is more and more a commodity, we felt that we really want to be paid for our intellectual property and our concept and plan development. And then if they move forward with us on the merchandise order, that's gravy. And we have reasons for the merchandise that we offer, but we also see the future and what's coming as a design firm. And those margins are being eroded every day. So we don't bristle so much at being shopped. Of course, it's never a great feeling. And if that does come up, we do try to, you know, price match where we can, if it actually is the same exact item.
Gotcha. Diana, do you have any thoughts on that question?
Well, I think for us, you know, we do design build, so we are a full service company. We occasionally have a client who has their own contractor that they've already got a relationship with, but most of our projects we're doing all the design work and the construction as well. So in regards to people shopping for things on their own, we do get those questions occasionally. If you're doing a kitchen remodel, someone might say, well, you know, I saw that roll faucet on faucets.com or whatever. You know, we try to go back to emphasizing the importance of us providing all the materials and ensuring that everything is on site when needed so that we can stick to the schedule that we have provided. So it's not a matter of coming across as, you know, greedy, that we want to provide everything and, you know, we're worried about every penny. It's more about getting people to understand how we work and having them kind of come over to that way of thinking and understanding that the only way that we can provide a schedule and stick to the schedule is if we're controlling that all the materials have been ordered and everything is on site when needed. And that's one of the reasons that our projects go smoothly and stay on schedule. So I think when people understand that, they're less likely to want to go shop for individual items for their projects on, you know, on their own.
Yep. Awesome. Great.
Something that we do is I charge a management fee for products that my clients want to purchase direct. So I want them to feel like I'm workable with them if that's what they want to do. But the fact is especially for design and build, there's issues with a lot of products, especially if a client brings it. It's not the same quality that you're necessarily used to working with. You don't always know what you're getting into. If there's issues, I don't want to have my client have it, be upset, because I want them to feel like through their whole project, I took really great care of them. And so if you are in the middle of the project and you don't want to deal with issues with products that they're bringing, let's say if a light fixture is broken and they wanted to provide it and it came broken, then who makes the phone calls, who returns it, who gets another one on site fast enough, and all of that. And so we just say, we've dealt with enough issues with the products that are brought to the table, or products in general, that we just charge a management fee if they are going to shop themselves. So regardless, it inflates, that adds to a factor of the cost, and 99% of the time they end up just having us provide the product because it's simplified, and in the influx they can see where we need to charge something for it.
Right.
So that's how we handle it.
I like it. Good.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it narrows it down, but still makes you look flexible.
Yeah. The management fee. That's good. Kat, do we have any questions coming in from the audience?
Yeah, so question for Rochelle. Is there anything positive a business partner, sales rep, customer has done that has set themselves apart during these times?
I would say the biggest thing, like my favorite rep through this time and any time, always, I've like probably 2 favorite reps in my career, and they always make me feel like I'm the only client they have. And I know in the businesses that they're in that they are very busy, but the way that they respond and answer my phone calls and get me answers, it makes me feel like I am it. I'm all that they've got. And so it, makes me very happy to have my answers when I need them. And so it speaks to me in my own business. How would my customers feel if I'm back to them very quickly and everything. So I think, especially in this time, communication is so key because we don't have the FaceTime. And so just, staying in the loop. But that's the best thing that I can get from my sales reps is just being attentive.
Absolutely. Another question for you, Rochelle. Is your usual management fee hourly or a flat fee?
So I generally charge 13% across the board for our jobs, for everything. And then if like every line item, except for products, because I have a store. And so in my store, products that I provide, I feel like it's already my job to manage them because I sell flooring, I sell cabinets, countertops, cabinetry, hardware. So any products that I sell directly from my store that I'm doing the markup on and everything, I'm retailing those products, I don't charge a management fee on them. But everything else towards my project, if it's my guy's labor, I charge a management fee on it. Down the line, I charge a management fee for subcontractors. And so if I'm providing products and my clients want to shop, they are, the products from my store exempt from a management fee, whereas they get a management fee then if they're outside of our store. So it's just, I do a blanket outside of the store is a 13% management fee. Now, if I'm doing like furniture specifically, furniture is a little, more widely to deal with, I feel like. And so I do 20% management fee if they want to purchase it and have me manage it and take care of shipping and everything.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
A question for Diana. As designers, where do you get inspiration from, especially if you don't travel?
That's a very good question because travel is always a great source of inspiration. But I think, these days, obviously, platforms like Instagram, I have several designers that I follow on Instagram, and it's always fun to see them post pictures of their new projects. And I really enjoy that kind of collaborative, kind of team spirit, even though we're all in the same industry. There's room for everyone, obviously, to do well and make a living. And it's really nice to have that positive connection with other designers. So that's definitely been a great source.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And the next question would be, how big of a role does social media play in your marketing, which you answered there, Instagram being one of the platforms that you prefer. Are there any other ways or other tools that you use to market your business?
Are you asking that of Diana or?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's
Okay, so in our company, I'm a senior designer, and we do have one of the owners and a marketing person who handle, all our marketing efforts. So I'm not personally handling the marketing. However, I do know that, certainly Instagram, Facebook are two big ones. I think probably Instagram is bigger than Facebook at this point. And then there's a lot of, they do a lot of the whole website optimization, where they're tracking, who's searching for kitchen and bath design, et cetera, in the Chicago area. Similar to what I think Wendy kind of touched on earlier. I know whenever we have a day when we're on the floor and we have access to, the website, and we see where people are that are looking at our website and how long they've been on and how many times they visited the website. And those types of things are obviously very interesting to follow and get a good handle on, where clients are coming from. And, the other thing is, I would say we still do get a fair amount of leads from, good old fashioned magazine ads. There are people who still look at actual magazines, and whenever we have a full page ad in one of the local magazines, we always get a flurry of interest from those. So I don't think that's going away anytime soon.
Great answer. Thank you. Okay, next question. Diana, was it you who said that you're sharing the company's discounts with your clients? If so, how do you charge for your services?
I think that was actually Wendy who was talking about passing on discounts. So I'll leave that to her.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
So Wendy, if you share the company's discount with your clients, how do you charge for your services?
Okay, so we charge in a flat fee contract with our clients. So we have a design agreement initially that would cover the whole concept development, budgeting, and pricing. And we charge a flat fee for that. And it's usually typically organized by the scope of work depending on the scale. So if it's a single room, we might start our design agreement at as little as $2,000 and then up based on that general scope. And that's strictly to create the design plan, the drawings, the specifications, all of the samples and all of the pricing. And then if we move forward and we're moving into merchandise that we order, then we would share discount off MSRP.
Thank you for that. Next question, which I'll ask both Diana and Wendy. Besides providing good customer service and products, how can reps, vendors, and partners help now and going forward?
Which one first?
Yeah.
Diana, we'll go with you first.
I can jump in, and I think this kind of goes with what Rauchel was talking about. And we all have a lot of reps that we deal with across the board, from plumbing, tile, countertops, obviously cabinetry, all the different materials that we're using. And I think in this time especially, it goes back to those relationships and having people that, as Rauchel mentioned, that you can count on, that when you email them about something, you get a quick response from them. They're very interested in and genuinely interested in helping you solve any issues you might have. That really goes a long way.
Definitely. Wendy, do you have anything different?
Yeah, I think similarly, I'd echo what everyone else has said a little earlier, and specifically we've seen our reps really step up in helping us to facilitate the care packages and the sample collection that Diana had mentioned earlier. Clients, even after a Zoom presentation, we still offer them the opportunity for confirmation. And so oftentimes that requires the rep to be super responsive and get us the samples either to our studio, or some have even gone so far as to deliver them directly to the client's home. So they've played a huge role in that logistics of coordinating and helping us to close the sale for both of us. And that has been invaluable. Their willingness to participate in that, which is something totally new for them, I'm sure.
So I have a question. Do either of you, Diana or Wendy, have any, like I just packaged up 2 small samples, and I mean, I just wrapped them in bubble wrap and put them in the mailer that I had and took them to the post office. And in my mind, I thought, I should be making this more beautiful. I should enhance it somehow, but I'm looking around my place going, what do I do? Do either of you have any brilliant suggestions on that you've seen? Wendy, do you?
Yeah, we've had, some have gone so far as to really brand and package it. So if it were, for example, from Caesarstone, maybe there was some swag in the bag that you were shipping, or you recognized the designer request with a special little personal note, compliments of Wendy Langston, everything home, care of Caesarstone. Just those little touches go a huge way. I think the Amazon Prime guy is at everyone's door every day, but setting your package apart has become the new challenge. So yes, anything that can kind of tie it back to the brand and to hospitality and consideration. I don't know how crafty you want to get.
I love the creativity.
Yeah. Any thoughts on your end, or have you received any packages that were really like, oh, this is not just another brown box?
Well, I would say that, most of mine, I'm talking about actually dropping samples off at someone's door. So not necessarily something that I'm UPSing or FedEx or whatever. I've found we've got, the wooden boxes that you get from a lot of these, I think they were originally used for cabinet finish samples. So, a nice wooden box that's got, handles and easy to pick up. And to me, the important thing is organizing those samples and labeling them in such a way that when the client brings them into their kitchen table or whatever and starts kind of, sorting through, that they have at least an initial impression of what, like I might mark something, obviously, perimeter cabinetry finish, a couple different options for island finish, backsplash tile, just to make sure everything is labeled so that it doesn't feel too overwhelming to them, like, when they start sorting through. And then, as I mentioned before, we always follow up with a Zoom call where the client can hold it up and say, what do you think of this one with this backsplash or whatever, So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for the clients to follow along and feel like they're, part of the process and enjoying the collaboration.
Cool. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. And to both Wendy and Diana, Wendy, I'll let you answer first. Are you doing any virtual appointments with your clients that are seeing your designs and ideas for the first time? If so, have they not paid a design fee or not retained you yet? And how would you protect your intellectual property and ideas? That's a long question. I can repeat it and put it in
a great question, though.
breakdowns, but great question.
It's a juicy question. Yeah. So I think if this is the first time, is that the question? So
yeah. So if you're doing a virtual appointment with your client for the first time.
Yes. Okay. So we have really now incorporated virtual, I would call it like the intake we've kind of found that doing it virtually and via video has paid off hugely. So we're investing about 30 minutes of time with the client in the video chat and really doing, primary intake, qualifying scope, time, budget, goals, lifestyle, all of that. And then we get a really good opportunity during that video chat, obviously to introduce ourselves, but then to also help them understand our brand and our brand experience. and what normal fees might look like. So we really try to be very transparent in that initial 30 minutes for them to ask us any questions. Interior design is sometimes a black box. People are afraid of it. They don't know how we price or what. So we want to be really forthcoming with that and let them know what the journey looks like and what that includes, what the investments and monies look like. Then if we find that we're a match, we call it match.com, we then will say the next step is for us to enter into a design agreement. And so in the next 24 hours, we'll be sending you our letter of engagement, inclusive of fees and the scope that we've discussed. And then you would retain us, and then we would start the work. So that first 30-minute virtual tour used to be something that we would go out to the client's home for and drive all over, and maybe even though we did good phone intake, still find that we weren't a good pairing. So we're finding that the Zoom call can be really intentional. The video also gives us a chance to be more personal and engaging than phone or email. And oftentimes the client can turn around and kind of show us their space. And so they're not shy to turn around and walk through the space with their iPad and show us what their dilemmas are. So I don't know if I'm getting exactly to the point, but our first virtual call is complimentary, but it really informs us before we're engaged. And then we do not give out concepts until we're engaged. Does that make sense?
Great. Yeah,
so there
absolutely.
would be a risk of them having something for free or a plan for free other than just our 30-minute time. And then if we feel like that can kind of pivot into either what we call a working session, where we would come out to the home and personally spend a couple of hours with them, or we would move into a full design agreement to kick off the renovation or kick off the refresh of the space.
Great answer. Thank you, Wendy.
Oh, sure.
Diana, do you have any thoughts on this question?
I do. I have always been very strict in my own personal policy of not releasing any drawings to a client until we actually have some type of an agreement and contract with them. So I was a little leery about this to start, because when I did a couple of Zoom meetings with drawings, I thought, boy, I'm not going to send a PDF of a drawing to a client in advance. I will share my screen so they can see what I'm looking at. They can see drawings. Typically what we'll do is we'll take off a lot of the dimensioning, or we'll have the drawings be not to scale. Because obviously, people can still take screenshots quickly or take a picture with their phone quickly. And you're never going to prevent 100% of that. But we have found that also using like the wireframe or like a 3D view of a finished kitchen definitely is a lot, is something that isn't as easily copied as if we're doing floor plans with all the cabinet sizes and everything on there. So using those 2D wireframes, it really is another way of protecting yourself. But, I feel like in some ways there's just no way around that having to take that leap of faith and trusting that this client has good intentions of working with you, because the reality is we're not sitting at our conference room table or at their kitchen table reviewing drawings together. You've got to find a way to do that makes you both feel comfortable and allow, the biggest thing is allows you to move forward with the projects.
Great answer. Thank you, Diana.
Sure.
Rochelle, I think we lost connection, but I'll repeat the question. Are you doing virtual appointments with your clients that are seeing your designs and ideas for the first time? If so, have they not paid a design fee or have not retained you yet? How do you protect your intellectual property and ideas?
So everyone that I have met has been willing to come into our store. Our store doesn't have a lot of traffic, and most of my employees are in the field. And so I ensure them that, I want everyone to be comfortable. So most of them, wear masks or something like that, to their comfortability. But everyone has come into the store still to make selections and to review their plans, or has felt comfortable with me visiting their house because it isn't, it's not a whole team of people coming or a slew of people that they're dealing with. It's pretty specific, and it's just me, an assistant, and them reviewing their projects.
Okay, so not much has really changed for that. Every state's been so different for the pandemic. Next question for all of you, and Rochelle, I'll let you answer first, is what type of marketing you use during the pandemic? Has anything changed at all?
So we have someone on our staff that does in-house all of our social media. And so we've got a schedule that we put something out every day on every platform, on Instagram and Facebook, so we put something out every day. We decide, I think every business has to make decisions about, the material that they're putting out, basically. And so we try to stay neutral and stay positive and just continue to do what we have been doing every day, because I think it says a lot for companies that can, stand solid where they're at, especially through something like this. And so we've just tried to continue, to put content out and to show before and afters, and continue to try to, get people excited about projects.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Rochelle. Wendy, do you have any thoughts on this question?
Yeah, I was thinking, I feel like my brain is fuzzy sometimes since the 6 weeks pandemic shutdown. But one of the things that I was refreshing was when we went to virtual meetings, we really had to coach the market as to what that meant. So we really made an investment in our website to create even just on the home landing page, information about what it meant to have a virtual design meeting and what a virtual experience was going to look like. And then further in the website, we kind of created a chart, indicating, okay, these are the things that we can do virtually, and these are the things that we'll have to do in your home with you together, to try to engage the market that business can continue, and yet kind of give them a little bit of instruction so that meeting virtually wasn't a barrier, but rather something that they might feel more comfortable with.
Wendy, say your website, because you did a great job with that, and people can go check it out.
Oh, we're everythinghomedesigns.com.
Great.
So yeah, it just occurred to us that maybe people are hesitating because they don't really even know how to engage. So we tried to make it clear and informative for them to know how they could work with us during this period. We also try to capitalize on the fact that they're surfing a lot and they're stuck at home and they're really dissatisfied with their space.
Yep.
So for those people that are willing to engage, we wanted to show them how. So that was something that I, just came back. It was one of the first things that we did back in late March to try to keep the market flowing our way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart.
That's great, Wendy. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Diana?
I will kind of take a different approach, because obviously we've kind of covered a lot of the, technology and Zoom and those different types of things. And I think Rochelle might have mentioned something along these lines early on, that I think there's no substitute for picking up the phone and calling, whether it's a prospective client or a former client that is thinking about another project that they might have touched base with you recently, to just talk to them about, how they're doing, how they're coping, with schooling their kids at home and everything that they're trying to juggle, and just offer that help and explain to them how we're working remotely. And how we can, this is a great time to get a jump start on a project that they might have been thinking about for a while, that we can really devote time to putting it all together and then be ready to pull the trigger when the time comes, to get materials ordered so that we're ready to jump in and get the project going for them. So just having that kind of reassurance, because people are a little hesitant and reluctant in many cases, just that they know that we are here for them and that we're going to do our very best to help them accomplish what they're looking to do.
And Diana, what is it? DruryDesigns.com?
No S, Drury Design.
DRURYDESIGN.com.
Yep.
And Rochelle, while we're at it, what is your website?
kbuildit.com.
So KB.
UILDIT.com.
Got it. Thank you.
Great.
Any other questions? Or we are getting to the top of the hour, so we kind of thought of a fun way that we wanted to finish off, which was to ask each of them, each of our esteemed panelists, what their favorite Caesarstone color was and what beverage they would pair that with. So Rochelle, since you're up, I'm going to start with you. What is your favorite Caesarstone design and what would you pair it with?
Mine's probably Noble Gray because I think it looks the closest like a marble. And in St. Louis and Missouri, I feel like a lot of designs are pretty classic. And so I really love how that goes with a lot of the designs that I use.
And
Kat,
I have it here in the background.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you pair that with, was it a vodka and tonic with a lime, do I recall?
That's correct.
Perfect.
I don't drink often, but if I do, that's probably what I would have.
All right. Note to Jason to keep the rep, to keep that in mind. Diana, how about you?
I am going to go with rugged concrete. We actually just put that in a big new kitchen display in our studio, and it has been extremely well received. People just love that material. And just one quick little story. I actually, when I did my own kitchen probably 15 years ago, I wanted to do concrete countertops, and I had no luck at all. I mean, countertop people said, go see a concrete guy. And when I called the concrete guys who do sidewalks and driveways, they said, call a countertop company. We don't do that. So I had no luck. So it's really fun to see these products that really look a lot like concrete, but certainly perform a lot better. And I will go with my favorite, which is especially once the weather gets nice, is frozen margarita.
Frozen salt.
That sounds great.
The other thing about the rugged concrete, I'll say real quick, is I think it's so versatile because you can use it in a more contemporary setting. If we're doing a project in the city, it also looks great if somebody's going for more of that casual kind of farm kitchen or something. It's just super versatile.
And I have it here on my background again.
Oh, let's see that. Cool.
I don't think we have any other questions.
Well, we have one question, and then we want Wendy to tell us what her favorite coloring. And I'm going to let I can't remember who answered this question. I think it was you, Wendy, but you would explain better. Somebody asks, what are wireframes? And my understanding of those is that that's a version of, in a software platform, when you have, say, a kitchen design with cabinetry, a wireframe is one way to look at it. Is that accurate?
I think that was Diana.
Yes,
that,
it was. It was.
That mentioned that. Yeah.
So the wireframe is basically in Chief Architect, which is the program that we use for all our drawing. It's basically your first glimpse at a 3D view of the space, but it's just like a black and white line drawing. So you haven't inserted, or applied any of the materials yet. But instead of just looking at a floor plan or elevations, you're seeing actually a 3D view that gives people a little better understanding of what their space will look like.
Mm-hmm.
Great, thank you. And then Wendy, favorite color and beverage you'd pair it with?
Oh, yes. I was going to say Statuario. Is it Nuevo? Or Nuvo?
Stat Nouveau, we call it, yeah.
Stat Nouveau, yeah. I love it for its mimicking of marble, like Rochelle was saying. I think it looks authentic. I love the digital imprint. I first saw it in January out at KBiz and just really fell in love with it. So that is my new favorite, specifying it in a upcoming big show home that we're launching in September.
Beautiful.
Indianapolis market, and it will be the feature in the kitchen. So looking forward to that.
And what will you be drinking when you
I
stand?
think, well, this is kind of a winter drink. I was thinking like a White Russian or something, largely because of all the white and then some of the little,
Yes.
some of the little Kahlua-like threads through it.
I like it. I've not heard it described that way. I'm sure that's what the designers were thinking of when
I'm
they
sure.
actually concepted it.
What about you, Denise? What's your favorite?
My favorite is actually Primordia. It's one of our newer colors, but it lends itself to the beach aspect, but it can also be very, cosmopolitan and of the city, if you will. So that is my fave. And I would pair anything with a buttery Chardonnay.
Go run with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Kat, what about you?
My favorite is Escava, and I would pair it any color with a nice glass of Cabernet.
Beautiful.
Great.
So thank you all for taking the time to share your insights and information with everybody here today. We have a lot of people from all over the country, and it's really fun to come together and share this information. To everybody who's been here, we at Caesarstone, the team, really appreciate your time. Please reach out to any of your reps, or if you can't track one down, let me know and I'll help you do that. We've got our new dark collection, and we have samples that we'd love to share. And we're on the brink of getting the samples for our outdoor product, which we are super, super excited about. It's a quartz, easy to use, easy to cut, and it's been heat desert tested and Minnesota winter tested. So we're excited about both of those product lines and look forward to sharing them with you and working with all of you. And so thank you again for taking time to join us. We'll be back again next Thursday with another topic. We're looking always for feedback on what would be helpful to you. How can we help our customers? How can we help you if you have questions about growing your business, about our products, about features of our products, how we can help you sell them better, whatever it might be. Please reach out, let us know. We may come up with a topic just for that, because sometimes we run out of ideas ourselves. So thank you, Diana. Thank you, Rochelle. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Kat. And thank you, everybody who's been out there in the audience today. Enjoy. Time for wine now.
Stay healthy.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Nice meeting you all.
Bye-bye.
Nice to meet you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.